joining us. And today we're going to talk about joy, love, hope, and peace. But first, I want to start off. How are you doing? How's everybody doing? We'll go around the room this way. Ashley, how are you doing?
Great. What is today? Tuesday. Tuesday.
I had to think about it.
It is the beginning of the week, and I am feeling very good.
Good.
Yes.
How are you doing?
I am swell, just swell. Swell, just swell.
Look at that pretty smile. Pretty smile.
Yes, and you flew all the way up here to be with us.
I did. Thanks for the invite.
Yes,
Yes, great.
Yes, and we're so lucky to have your brilliant voice with us.
I'm blessed to be here.
How have we been here all day and didn't know that?
Right.
And Emily, how are you doing?
Good, socially distanced in here, you know? Good, I'm
That's a
excited
nice
to be
little,
here.
This was cute. This was setup.
A little intimate, real quick.
Intimate, but not.
Yeah.
But
With
close,
space.
but together.
Okay, there we go.
Close as we can.
Huh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Shall we talk a bit about joy? Shall we sing a little joy to the world?
Yeah. Let's do it.
Joy to the world, the Lord is come. Let earth receive her King.
Every heart prepare room, and heaven and nature sing, and heaven and nature sing.
Well, this is one of mine. This is always one of my favorite hymns. I mean, what else do you go to first? But I want to talk to each of you first. Actually, before we do that, what I want to talk about is we had one of the members of the church go out and talk to people in New York. So part of this concert will be listening to what outside of New York, I mean, not outside of New York, but what the outside world thinks about joy and love and the topics we're going to talk about. But before we go into that, I want everybody, and I'll give you a moment to think, to give a joy for today. Now, one of the things we do here at the church at Park Avenue is we start our staff meetings with a joy. And that always helps set up everything right, even if you got a bunch of mess going on. If you can find joy, sometimes you got to search for it, right?
Yeah.
But you know. So who would like to go first? Or I'll give mine first while people think. Or somebody already have one.
I have one. I want to express joy for growth, like personal growth. I had a very exciting thing that was supposed to happen at the start of the new year, like really big career-wise, that has now been canceled because of everything that's going on. And for 2 seconds, I was like, really bummed about it. But I decided to look at it from a different perspective and look at it as like everything that I kind of went through in terms of preparation for it was like a practice course in asking for what I want so that the next time, I don't know when the opportunity is going to come back, but it will, and I will be ready for it. And that happened yesterday. And since then, I've just been kind of relishing in the joy of personal growth, mental and emotional growth. Because, I mean, even some months ago, I would have been all sad and depressed about it and letting the anxiety, like, take me down of, oh my God, is this ever gonna come back? All of that stuff that we kind of feel in this industry. So that's where my joy is in my personal growth. I'm very proud of myself.
I often think we forget that we can be proud of ourselves every now and again. It's good. It's good to feel good about yourself. How about you? Either one of you have a joy?
I feel like this is a bit obvious, but like I'm very joyful to be here right now. And like the day, you know, we've been here all day, like going over stuff and learning harmonies. I haven't had that feeling in so long. Of I didn't break it.
No, it's
I
fair.
didn't break
There
it.
you are.
No, it's okay.
It's okay. I'm joyful that I didn't break the church's mic.
Yes.
I like going over harmonies and stuff. It's just exciting and that's yeah.
Yeah, no, it's definitely been fun being in rehearsal, and it's been this is I haven't really done this kind of a thing outside of a new song. We do kind of, but a new song is different. But sat down and learned music and singing, you know, some of our favorite stuff that we love to sing. It's always fun because I think there's also a couple things in here where I think earlier you said I'll never get to sing that again, but it's fun to do it tonight. You know. What about you, Vincent?
I found joy in the music, right? Similar experience, like I lost my wallet yesterday and I was very stressed. Didn't have a way to get here, but thank God for technology because I was able to use Apple Pay to get onto the train. But I didn't want to just sit in the house and be like somber and sallow and like, well, not somber, like to sit in my sorrow and be upset. I was like, I need to find a way to get there because I know the music is going to lift me up. And I was able to meet new friends and to make music and to be able to share my gift, but then also like lose myself in music too. So I found joy in that today.
Good. I'm glad you did. My joy is that once we get through Christmas, I finally get to go home to Alabama to see my parents. It's been over a year now since I've been home. So it's like we're just got to get to there.
Almost
We were doing all of this, visioning for the future and all of this. I'm like, can I just get to Friday?
Yeah.
It's very that right now. But, there is still joy in the world, and you do have to search for it. I think one of the topics we talked about on joy was that you have to go and find joy for yourself. But enough of us talking. Let's hear. Actually, let's watch the video and see what some other people had to say about joy.
The tree.
Oh yeah.
Yes.
You deck it out with like all the glitter and all the tinsel and stuff.
Yes, I have like a whole theme, red and gold. I deck it out all the way with the buffalo plaid, and I just do it all like pretty.
Does that bring you joy?
It makes me happy. Her jubilance is my jubilance.
Whoa!
Being around good friends and doing kind acts.
My joy is at like a 4 right now because I'm in law school, so I'm not very joyful. Yeah.
Walking in the park with friends.
The energy all around?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's so vibrant.
What do you think, Riley?
What brings you joy, Riley?
We're getting
We're getting Mom's watch fixed? That's
really
that's a pretty good answer.
That's a great answer.
Attaboy.
Well, he brings me joy all year.
What brings you joy around this time of year?
spending time with my loved ones.
Yes, amazing. Are you spending time with loved ones this year?
Yes,
we're hoping.
Family and friends. Yeah.
The food. Definitely the food with family and friends.
Just broke up with my boyfriend. Yeah. They raised my rent by $1,000. What else is hurting my joy? The fact that I can't get a dog just yet. But 2022's joy is I'm going to get a dog. I'm gonna make it work.
Sassy, does treats bring you joy? Yes, it does. Treats.
Wait a minute. Did you say
I just broke up with my
broke up with her
boyfriend.
boyfriend?
Yes.
And
Raise her by $1,000.
and that was the joy.
No, that's what's stopping her
stopping
joy.
her joy, yeah.
But in 2022, she was going to get to her joy being a new dog. She said, I ain't got no joy right now, but
But
I will.
I like that.
get into the
Power
Looking
of yet.
ahead.
It's the power of yet.
I like.
Yes.
Oh,
Oh,
that was
is
good.
it tomorrow?
The power
Is the
of
joy.
yet.
Oh,
Yet.
it's good. I love
That's
that.
on Sesame Street. I have a child, so Janelle Monáe has a song called "The Power of Yet" on Sesame Street. Look it up,
That.
YouTube.
Right, I'm gonna have to do that.
I'm cool because I'm a mom.
Anytime anybody says Sesame Street to me, of course, the one thing that pops into my head is Patti LaBelle doing the ABCs. That will always be for me, yes. But, Joy, I think, like I said earlier, it is hard to find, but we find it in a lot of ways, and I feel like you brought up earlier, Vincent, one of the ways a lot of people find joy is music. And one of the most loved of all time, Christmas songs across the board, All I Want for Christmas Is You, has been around for how many years now? Since the early 2000s?
What are we talking about?
All I Want for Christmas Is You, Mariah Carey.
Yeah.
It's like
gotta be longer
outside
than
of that, most of them are like Have Yourself a Merry Little Christmas. But and so we couldn't not. So Emily, shall we do a little All I Want for
Let's do it.
Do it. Come on, Emily.
But the Michael Bublé version, we're in a church. We're going to keep it.
We're sitting down and relaxing.
Sing.
We're not trying to do all that. Ben continues to do all that. All right, here we go.
Mike is stressing me out.
Don't. Just sing the song, girl.
Joy.
Joy.
Nobody's going to know. Because you're going to sing. I'm sorry, go ahead.
My mom and my sister are watching.
Mom and sister.
Let's go change it. You two banter about her mic is cutting out.
Okay, good. Let me go ahead.
You
Say
talk
word.
about joy. Banter.
I'm talking about joy.
Banter.
I'm talking about the joy that I have had all day, Emily's family.
Listening to her, okay?
Listening to her and threatening her. I don't feel bad about it. I've definitely offered to throw my shoe, to throw the staff thing at her whole body, because why does she sing like that?
Told her to stop talking, stop singing, because it's just vocal assault.
So that is my joy. She brings me joy.
It falls out.
It
like a
really
waterfall. Just
does.
open your
Like
mouth,
her
it just comes out.
tone and just like the timbre of her voice, it's ridiculous, and I don't appreciate it.
At
If I don't
22?
appreciate it, I mean continue to do it forever.
Right.
That's what I mean. That's what I mean.
I don't understand how she does it at 22.
Right.
So
Right.
much soul in there.
So what is about to happen over these
Years,
next
as it
years
grows,
as it
right?
becomes seasoned and all the things?
Because we talk about personal growth, but there's also like musical growth as well. You know what I mean? Jesus.
Okay, joy. So what's something that brings you joy that you kind of do during the holidays, like traditions or anything like that?
So I love putting up my tree. I don't like putting up other people's tree. Like my mom wanted me to put up her
You say
tree,
you don't?
and it was just too much.
Oh.
But I like putting up my own tree because I know what I want it to look
Yeah.
like. You know what I mean?
Yes.
So I have my lights that goes around, I have my little bulbs and the star on top, and then sometimes I wrap empty boxes just to put them.
Because you need fillers. Because you need, hey, I'm with it. You need fillers on the thing.
Yes.
Excuse me, everyone. There was one year where we couldn't afford to get a Christmas tree. And so my mom took garland, and now it's a whole trendy thing. And I'm like, y'all, my mama was doing that. She put garland on the wall and like taped it up and put ornaments and
That is
hung it.
dope.
And it was really cute. And then
It's
put
dope.
our, the gifts that we had, put them under the garland tree. And one of my best friends, she remembers that every year. Ashley, you remember when your mom put that tree up on the wall? That was so cool. And now I'll be seeing it on Instagram and TikTok. I mean, I don't have TikTok, but the TikTok that shows up on Instagram, I see it. And I'm like, y'all just copying off of my
Your
mama.
mom should have patented it.
Huh?
She should have patented it.
She should
Trademarked.
have.
Ooh. I got a good one.
Hey.
Where my background singers at?
I like how you scared yourself.
I had to move mine down. I was like, I got a big voice. I don't need it that far up.
All right, we're all back.
We're here. We talked about joy.
Thank you.
His joy is putting up his Christmas tree. His own, not anyone else's, but his own brings him a lot of joy.
Yeah, it's people forget how much work it is decorating. Like I enjoyed it when I was a child, but doing some of the stuff, especially around my own apartment, I was like, this is a lot of work, and it's going to come down to money.
For somebody else to like it, you know what I mean? Like I want to enjoy it, but I don't know what you necessarily would like to see.
Right, if you're doing it for your own.
vision, you know what I mean?
We didn't even decorate this year. It's still in storage. But I don't feel some type of way about it. It just didn't happen,
Yeah.
Less work.
We
Well,
got
when you sing the Christmas songs, that is the decoration.
Come on. He's saying truthful words. We got an itty bitty baby tree this year.
Oh.
And it's about, my daughter's name is August. It's about her size. So she's excited about it, but she also does not understand that we can't pile all of our ornaments on it like we do when we have our big tree. So she's just like, Mommy, look at this. Let's put this on there. It's a keychain. That's not an ornament. Let's put it on there.
It's got a hoop.
It hangs here.
And
It
then
works.
cut to the tree like,
Temple.
but anyway,
Well, something in the next song we're going to sing actually stemmed out of a new song we were talking about joy. We had landed on joy. It wasn't the subject that day. We landed on joy. And we were talking about the sun and not the new realization, but the remembering that even when there are clouds in the sky, the sun is still there. It's just covered up. And so, and then something we talked about in our episode was that joy is also not a constant thing. There will be moments where there is no joy, and that's okay.
right.
That you'll get through it, and the sun will come out tomorrow.
Well.
a day that's great and lonely. I just took up my chin and grin inside. The sun will come out tomorrow, so you gotta hang on till tomorrow. Come what may. Tomorrow, tomorrow, I love ya. Tomorrow, you're always a day away. When I'm stuck with a day that's gray and lonely, I just stick up my chin and grin and tomorrow, so you gotta hang on till tomorrow. Come what Miss Ashley.
Ma'am.
Ma'am.
I say, oh.
I like to sing to the Lord.
You put in there one of those what I attribute to there are certain licks that I attribute to like the Dreamgirls era. That era. There was one lick that does like there's Dreamgirls.
Aw, there she is. Happy 40th, Dreamgirls. 40 years.
Things that I love. Dreamgirls Musical Theater. I mean, that is a show that there are a certain number of shows. You know, my biggest thing is writing new material, but there's a short list of shows that I'm like, yes, I would direct that at a heartbeat or do that because it has so much to offer.
Yeah.
And the way that show is written musically, it's almost sung through, and there's not any other shows that are really like use that music in the same way. But the next topic we're going to talk about is love. Love can be a difficult thing. But I think overall,
I would say definitely just friends and family.
Yeah.
Just being around them.
Yeah.
Making sure they're alive and checking in on them is very important right now.
What's on a scale of 1 to 10? How like loving are you feeling right now?
About an 11.
Oh no way!
So we're here on our anniversary trip.
Sweet.
That's my husband. He doesn't want to be shown.
He's already been shown.
Spending time with family.
Christmas cookies.
Picking out gifts for people.
Getting to see my dogs.
A question about like what you love about this time of year. What did he say? You have an elf? Is that what you love this time of year? Is your elf? Oh, amazing. That's great. What a good answer. Have a good day, y'all. We'll take it. Yes.
That was very cute.
Oh, very. So let's go the opposite way this time. Emily, let's start with you. What brings you love this time of year? What do you love about this time of year?
I think, the last 2 years have been so different than what this time of year usually is. So but my like constant is like my partner, Brad. We live together, and you know, even though we don't have Christmas tree or lights and we're not seeing family, we have each other, and like it means a lot to still have someone there who loves you and brings you love. And we have a little puppy who loves us. I mean, that is unconditional love if I've ever seen it. Puppies, they're just the best. So definitely my puppy and my boyfriend. And having like a rock this time of year is just so important, I think, because it can get really lonely. Even if you're surrounded by people, it can get super lonely this time of year, and especially if you have traditions or things you used to do, and kind of finding new traditions that you find love in, I guess, yeah.
I was living here in New York for 6 years, but I always made it a point to always be at home for Christmas. Like I had to be at home with my mom. I grew up as an only child, and so I just had to be there with my mom. And so we have this new tradition that you bring that up that everyone else used to do, but we just started a couple years ago of like doing the Christmas pajamas. So doing that on Christmas Eve into Christmas Day. It's just like, it's a moment for us to bond together, and right, like so we alternate. So I bought it one year, then she bought it, and then we alternate, right? And so that brings me a lot of love to my mom.
Oh, that almost made me. It's good. My husband and my daughter and our dog. They fill me with a lot of love, a lot. Yeah, that's it.
I think one of the things that I love that you told me recently actually about your daughter was that she's essentially memorized every word to the Holiday Jam from last year. You did your show last year. Last year we did it was slightly different. It was more of a show, and we did a nod to the holiday specials from like the 40s and the 50s, like the Judy Garland Christmas special and whatnot. And so we had a lot of fun, but she's essentially memorized it.
Word for word. Word. Word for word.
Does she like to sing?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. And like it took me a long time to not accept the fact, but maybe that is what it is. It took me a long time to accept the fact that like she actually has a voice and like an ear, because I didn't want to be one of those moms that's like, my baby's gonna, because there were already enough people kind of putting that on her, like, oh yeah, you gonna sing just like your mama, or she gonna be a neurosurgeon, or an anthropologist, or somebody. Get out of here. But she actually does love to sing. So,
that being said,
and like she's really good, like not just mama ears good, like good. And she's only 4, and
Well, I started playing piano at 4, so.
Yeah, she's like, she can hear pitches, and like, she's starting to recognize or understand the concept of harmony. So she'll sing something, and typically I've been singing the harmony to what she's singing, and now she's starting to say, oh, mommy, sing that other note that you're singing. There's another note. And if I sing it off, she's like, no, that's not it.
No. Sing wrong note.
Mom.
No.
Mom.
Mom.
I mean, 10 years to be like, that was flat?
Yeah, exactly.
That was flat.
I mean, that is, I'm one of those people where it's like, I am not a great teacher, but I'm excited to have children one day.
Yeah.
In that sense of, and it's, sometimes they say what they want to say all the time, but sometimes you're like, but no, you're right.
Yeah.
Right.
Oh, yeah.
Right.
All the
How do you
time. All the time.
It's just they're not filled with all the stuff that we are
Yeah.
in the world, and having to worry about the election and the world and pandemic. They can just live.
Yeah. Stay a child as long as you can.
And she does.
As long as you can.
Yeah.
But there is, something special, I think, about learning from a child. I mean, yes, you have to, take things and curb them with a grain of salt, but there is they're able to view the world, like I said, through a cleaner lens.
Well, last year, when this first, started and we were in lockdown, I was experiencing so many bouts of depression and anxiety. And there was one day where I just couldn't hold it together, and I was sitting on the couch and I started crying. And she was 2 at the time, and she was like, "Mommy, what's wrong?" And I was like, "Mommy's just really sad today." And she was like, "It's okay. I'm here. Daddy's here. Jason is our dog. Jason is here. You don't have to worry. You're not alone." What? So I had no choice in that moment but to feel loved and to feel okay, because my 2-year-old was like, "Girl,
what you worry about?
But you're fine.
We got you.
We're right here. We got food. We got shelter. What's the problem?" So yeah.
They hold a lot of wisdom and love.
A lot to love.
There was, actually the Halloween episode, we had fun, a little fun with Michael Myers, but there was this video that was going around where, she was not privy to the fun. I mean, she was here, she was part of the fun, but she
traumatized.
There was the second episode of the other show, but there's this video going around where the Michael Myers character was bending down, or was bent down to hug a child, and held his arms open. And the child took a moment, he was like, "Let me approach you with a hug," and then went in and hugged him.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh,
Right,
then Michael Myers continues to then turn the knife around. But up until that moment, it's like,
you couldn't even laugh. It's just like, oh gosh, look at this little kid. He hugged Michael Myers.
He hugged Michael Myers.
Yeah, yeah.
And they are great at giving unconditional love. And that's, I think, of a lot of what we need now. And the next song we're going to, sing speaks to that. It's a song that was done alone from its conception in '96 till the early 2000s, and then people are like, "We've had enough." But I think it's been a while, and now we need to hear it again.
Yeah.
So let's have a little bit of this.
525,600 minutes, 525,000 moments, oh dear. 525,600 minutes. How do you measure a year? In daylights, in sunsets, in midnights, in cups of coffee, in inches, in miles, in laughter, in strife. In 525,600 minutes. How do you measure a year in the life? How about love?
one of my favorites, and it's such a, similarly to a lot of gospel music and a lot of gospel music and spirituals, it uses simple words but in a very meaningful and specific way. And similar with the melody of that song. It's not easy to sing, but it's enjoyable to sing.
Yes.
You know, that's why it got sung over and over.
It's like
because
comforting in a way. And everyone has their own memories of it as well. Like everyone's done it at show choir or something.
It's
we
like
all
universal.
have our own.
Like everybody can join in.
Yes, it's very that. Oh, and that's, the movie Rent makes me, it's the only movie, and I don't even have a description for exactly how it makes me feel, but in a good way. It makes me feel like no other movie does. It's not necessarily better than any other movie, but it puts me in a very specific place, and I don't know why. But it's like when I want to go to that place, I'm like, Rent, come on, let's go. It's a beautiful show and very, very relevant, But next, let's sing a little Jesus Come Out of the World. Talking gospel music.
Yeah.
Give them a little bit of that. All right.
Yeah.
Yeah, let's do this.
Ashley, Ashley, sing to me. All day.
All right, let's do this. Little Jesus Come Out of the World.
Hark the herald angels sing, Jesus the light of the world. Arise in the newborn King, Jesus the light of the world. We'll walk in the light, beautiful light. From where the dewdrops of mercy shine bright, shine all around us by day and by night. Jesus, the light of the world. One more time. Walk in the light, beautiful light. From where the dewdrops of mercy shine bright, shine all around us by day and by night. Jesus, the light of the
We need this time right now. And, the next section we're going to talk about is hope. And to me, the season of Advent and the whole point of having the story and telling the story is for that hope. That, one day, probably not in our lifetime, things will be better. We talked about, or I talked about the song Going Up Yonder. And growing up, I had only really heard that song done at funerals. That's the place we normally hear it.
Yeah.
But it wasn't until we were going to do it on the song that I was like, let me go see what else I can find in terms of, versions of it. And I went back and I found the original. And then I realized they're happy. They're not sad at all. Because the song kind of cinches itself in. I don't want to say that nothing on this earth is for us, but we just got to get through to the end of this, and then it's going to be better on the other side. I went, now this song makes a whole lot more sense. And it's when you listen to that song, it really is a party. They're having a party. And, you know, there's something to say about, you know, thinking about no matter what is going on right now, it's going to get better, hopefully. The hope is that it's going to get better, even in life. And like I look at my life and like the general trajectory of my life, generally speaking, it's been up. Yeah, there have been dips down, but like the overall projection, you know, has been up. And it, you know, it definitely gives me hope in the lower points that the overall shape of the curve is up.
Yeah.
You know.
This is gonna be a very like weird like jump, but just go with me. Have any of you ever seen Shawshank Redemption?
No.
I haven't seen it.
Okay. With Morgan Freeman and of course
the main guy's name.
the other the main character's name, his name escapes me, but I think his character's name was Andy. But do you know what Shawshank Redemption is about? Jail. It's about jail. And they end up getting life sentences, right? And so Morgan Freeman is in jail. He's been in jail. He's used to jail. He's like seeing that this is where he's just gonna be. Andy comes in and he's like bringing up all of these things about when he gets out of jail. And Morgan is like, "You're crazy. You're gonna be here forever." And I did a film study on it. And one of the things when we were talking about the differences between these two characters is that Andy hopes, which is probably what keeps him alive, because I think he was wrongly accused. But that's the one thing that keeps him alive for the entire time. And I can't remember how many years. He was in there for like 20 or 30 years or something like that. But he never lost his hope. He would do things like he fixed up the library, or he would play albums. He got in trouble and got sent to solitary confinement for playing albums out loud, like his favorite classical album, over the loudspeaker. So, and Morgan Freeman kept thinking like, "You are crazy, you're crazy." But the whole time he was like, I have to hope for something. Otherwise I'm going to like die. Right. And when I think about like something like this situation that we are all in, we are all experiencing this collective trauma, so to speak, of this pandemic, right? But the one thing that we all have to get through it is hope. When you think about, I was thinking about this the other day, I don't even know what made me think about it, but I was on the train and I was looking around at all the people on the train and I thought, wow, like if you are alive right now and over the age of 2, is that right? Math, I don't know, but for the age of 2, we are all survivors of the same thing. And in order to get to whenever the day is that we are able to look back on this, it will have to be because we have hoped through the entire thing to be able to see forward. And that's a hard thing when you're in the midst of it, to have the willpower, to have the fortitude to actually think ahead beyond what your circumstances are, when your circumstances are so scary. You know, that's just my 2 cents on it.
Yeah, hope is, I feel like I've said this about everything we talked about, but another one, hope is hard. Finding, because I feel like there's a logical part of our brain that goes, but what are the solid facts that are guiding you to this?
Yeah, right, logic. Yeah.
But sometimes, you know, there are a lot of other unlogical things that happen in this world.
Oh yeah.
And, you know, so, you know, with the things going on in the world, and when you look at everything, my brain goes, hope might not be logical, but it's necessary to get up in the morning. It's necessary to keep moving. And I think we all, wherever we need to find some hope in some places. But before we continue that, let's see what New York had to say about hope.
What brings you hope this time of year? If anything, yeah, it's hard. Your dog?
No, it's not my dog.
Well, I'm going to college at Sarah Lawrence, so like the thought of going home and seeing my family, this is my first year, so it's like, ooh, finally going home. Yeah.
Christmas is very important to me because I'm Latin from Colombia, and so in Colombia, this moment is very important for us, for the gifts, for the family.
Yeah. What brings you hope this holiday season?
Start of the new year.
The start of the New Year's a big one.
That's good.
We're so close. Can you believe, like, literal weeks until we're in yet another year?
Yeah.
Still pandemic, but a new year, which means we're all still alive and we're all still moving forward. Emily, what brings you hope this time of year? Where do you find hope?
I've never been someone who did like New Year's resolutions. I've always found them silly because I'm like, if I want to stop, I don't know, doing something, I should stop doing it now. Why should I wait? You know what I mean? Or just like setting unrealistic goals for yourself. I feel like a lot of people's New Year's resolutions are just not things that are attainable, or just setting high expectations for yourself. But I do feel this year some sort of like getting across the finish line, kind of like you said, like we're days away. And I just think 2021, in some ways, for me at least, was harder than 2020. Because in 2020, it felt like we were all in it together a little bit more, as opposed to 2021. You've seen some people really just like soar, and some people are really stuck trying to climb back up. And nothing's going to change in what, 8, 10, 11 days when we're when it's 2022.
What's today?
But it just feels like we're getting somewhere. And I guess, with the whole pandemic and everything, the only thing that really can like help heal this all is time and like learning more and being smarter about things. And so I am hopeful for the new year this year, which I'm not usually very hopeful about the new year. So this is new. This is new for me.
I mean, one of my favorites. I do know the show that it's from. But the time heals everything. Tuesday, Monday. I can't sing the rest of it, but it's because I don't know the words, and I will just sing the melody. But it's a beautiful song, and if you go listen to Bernadette Peters sing it. But I believe it's by Jerry Herman. Jerry Herman writes a lot of just beautiful musical theater, and actually, his music is kind of what got me into writing musical theater and gave me a lot of hope. Hello, Darling was the first musical I ever saw. And so when I go to see that, because I'll even watch it, yes, Barbara was too young to play the role, but I don't care. It makes me, even with all of the mess that's going on in the world of Broadway, it makes me hopeful for musical theater to still exist and to get back to a place. It makes me want to write things that make other people feel like I do when I watch that show. And I kind of mentioned this earlier, that reminding ourselves too with musical theater that Broadway and musical theater are not the same. Broadway is an industry. Musical theater exists outside of Broadway. And reminding myself that we can do shows. We can still have things that aren't Broadway, and that's not. You know what I'm saying?
It's like what you said earlier when you said everyone's like, oh, but Broadway's shutting down. And you're like, what has Broadway ever done for you? Are you on Broadway?
It's like, have you even been on Broadway? Exactly. And I think there's a lot of things like that in our life that we just continue to do. That, in order to find the joy and the hope and the love and the peace, we have to get rid of some of those, not traditions, but just the everyday about the stuff that we just do because we've done it all the time. So that we have space for joy and for hope and for love and for peace, it can be hard to get rid of some of those things and those habits. But I believe that we have a finite amount of space to deal with things, whether it's family, whether it's issues, whether it's whatever. And so, you do have to, one of the prayers that Kathy wrote that we were talking about, talked about, you have to throw off what you no longer need so that you can be ready to take on the new things,
Mm-hmm.
And that can be hard. I feel like that, I'm going to say that 9 more times, so just to get used to it. But it can be hard, but like I said, with Hello Dolly, I find hope in the music and in that joy. Now, next, Vincent is going to sing, actually, It's the Most Wonderful Time of the Year. And without fail, every time I get to this time of year, and I start to play some of the Christmas music, and I'm like, it's kind of hard not to feel happy.
Yeah.
When the Christmas trees are up, when the garland is everywhere, and especially when you go up and down Park Avenue, and the trees are, New York still has its charm, especially when it snows at Christmas. New York lives up to the Christmas you see in movies.
Yeah.
And that always brings me joy, is this time of year. So shall we have a little bit of that?
Yeah.
Yes, we shall.
We shall.
Yeah.
One, two, three, 4, 5, 6.
Telling you be of good cheer. It's the most wonderful time of the year. It's the happiest season of all. With those holiday greetings and gay happy meetings when friends come to call. It's the happiest season of parties for hosting, marshmallows for toasting, and caroling out in the snow. There'll be scary ghost stories and tales of the glories of Christmases long, long ago. Oh, it's the most wonderful time of the year. There'll be much mistletoeing and hearts will be glowing when loved ones are near. It's the most wonderful time of the year. Oh, there'll be parties for hosting, marshmallows for toasting, and caroling out in the snow. There'll be scary ghost stories and tales of the glories of Christmases long, long ago. It's the most wonderful time of the year. There'll be much mistletoeing and hearts will be glowing when loved ones are near. It's the most wonderful time. It's the most wonderful time. It's the most wonderful time of the year.
It is the most wonderful time. Sing the song. Oh my God. Sing it.
Sing all of the song, yes. It's
Oh, beautiful.
and I think that song can also be a little bit misleading. It sounds very joyful and happy and bouncy, but when you're singing it and you're like, what is happening? Where am I going? I'm afraid. But it is very joyful, especially once you get it in the way you sing it.
Oh,
Thank you.
stunning.
Could heal the world.
Truly.
Truly.
I'm healed.
But and that a lot of it filled me with hope, and it's amazing how you can go from one moment being like, okay, and what's happening in the world, but then you hear one song, and granted, I'm one of those people where I can listen to the same one song over and over and over in a row. But yeah, this song has always filled me with hope, and it's beginning to look a lot like Christmas. I'll be home for Christmas.
That's another one that like it's so joyful to sing, but how many words there are? It's beginning to look a lot like Christmas. What isn't that the one that like they're just like dolls for a walk and whatever.
Right.
Yes. A pair of hopalong boots and a pencil that shoots is the hopes of John and Jen.
Right. Dolls that are talking and go for a walk is the hopes of John and Jen. And mom and dad can hardly wait for school to start again.
It's beginning to look a lot.
You see, I didn't even join in. I don't know half of them words. I just said,
and that's how scatting was born. But no.
June is busting out
that will always be immortalized along with Where Are My Background Singers?
Patty
LaBelle and
please, if you have never seen Patty singing at the thing,
what was she?
I don't know if I called outside something for the president.
It's a Bill Clinton presidential like Christmas show at the White House.
Okay, if you've never done it, go home tonight and look up Patti LaBelle singing This Christmas or not singing it. It's perfection, and you need please, y'all. Please.
You have to.
And I'm gonna, when you do it, even when I'm not at your house with you, I'm gonna feel that you were like, thank you,
found that
Ashley.
joy.
Thank you.
It's great.
It's amazing. And then
It's great. It's bad.
go watch the Holiday Jam, the Ashley Jenkins Christmas show from last year, where we also
Yes.
It was fun.
we might do a nod to it or something. We'll have to go watch and find out.
It was fun.
I have to go watch it. I want to watch it.
Oh, it's fun. It was lots of fun, and you talked to me about it being one of the like freest moments as an actress.
Yeah, I think it was just one of my dearest friends, Darrell J. Hunt. First of all, we are just like, he's a part of my village, so we see each other quite often, and it's normal for us to just break out in song or dance or prose or something.
And
Shakespeare or something crazy. And we got to like put that on the stage and without any sort of script. And I always say he wasn't able to come to the rehearsal, the dress rehearsal earlier in the day. And so when it came to the time, like, okay, and we're gonna do this, and then that's gonna happen, and okay, and so now Ashley and Darrell are gonna do this part, it's gonna be, and so the crew was all like, okay, so what's gonna happen here, like, so we know, and I was like, I don't know. I don't really know. We're gonna come out, and then he's gonna come out, and then he may say this, and then I may say that, and then there you go. And then they were like, okay, all right. And then it came to showtime, and you could hear, because we went nuts and crazy. There's a camera, and we're gonna do it, and costumes, elf, and hats, and things. And so we went crazy, and so you could hear like the snickering, like they could not contain themselves because I'm sure they were like, what is going on?
I can't wait to go home and watch it.
Oh yeah.
Oh, it's a lot of fun.
It was fun.
It was lots of fun. But it actually inspired part of what we did during those concerts. It's what inspired this. It inspired a new song, and it brought in the conversation. It brought in the conversation with the music, which I was like, we're missing that, sitting around and talking, and because some of my favorite times are just sitting around and jamming out with the musicians, singing a bunch of stuff that we'd never sing, never play, but for that moment,
it's beautiful.
We get to talk about what we want. We get to sing what we want. And just be. You're not on Broadway, you're not anywhere, you're not in the kitchen. We're just making music. And one of the songs that, when I first heard this, I knew that this was, it reminded me of Seasons of Love actually a lot. And it, again, bringing back the hope, it brought me hope that you know, there is still a lot of good art being written. And I knew there was, but it doesn't always get pushed to the front,
Right.
you know? And so the next song we're going to sing, You Will Be Found, is something that I felt that, it's from the story of Dear Evan Hansen, which is recent, but I was like, we still need to hear this. Just like we need to hear Seasons of Love, we need to hear this message, you know? Because I feel like a lot of people feel like this now.
Especially this time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We shall.
Have you ever felt like nobody was there? Have you ever felt forgotten in the middle of nowhere? Have you ever felt like you could disappear? Like you could fall and no one would hear? Well, let that lonely feeling wash away. 'Cause maybe there's a reason to believe you'll be okay. 'Cause when you don't feel strong enough to stand, you can reach When you're broken on the ground, you will be found. 'Cause you'll reach up and you'll rise again. If you only look around, you will be found. You will be found. You will be found.
can't have Christmas without O Holy Night.
No.
It puts you in such a peaceful state, and that's what we're going to talk about next. Of mind, of just the. It's better in D flat. It's just so warm. Talk about warm music.
Yeah.
It's the 6/8.
And it's like the dun 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 dun. It's like babbling brook, kind of
But
like
soft.
water.
Steady.
Big motion. You know, look at composers
Hi.
doing things.
Look at.
I know.
It's like they meant to.
Like they
I
thought
know,
about it.
Like they were trying to do something. But like the next and last topic we're going to talk about is peace. Something that we need a lot of in the world. Before we talk, let's take a look and see what New York had to say about peace.
I like to write, so spending time alone, taking time aside to write is peaceful.
Yes, I heard something recently that kind of inspired me, and it said, it was like anything that somebody has done before, you can do.
What brings you peace now in your life?
Good question. Being with family.
I don't know.
Little Riley, do you know what that means? Do you know what peace means? What brings you peace?
Absolutely taking naps. I've slept probably 10 hours a day combined.
What's something that brings you peace in your life?
One is I'm glad that things are getting back to normal, and the lesser the masks we wear, the more normal we feel. So it's good, and
Smiles?
yeah, you can see a lot of smiles and people mingling.
For me, it's personal time.
Honestly, just getting out of New York City and getting to hike. There are a lot of great trails on the Metro North, and you can be alone in nature. It's really wonderful.
I feel like Riley was like, Dad, they're asking you.
Dad, I'm sitting on your shoulders.
Yes, but it's as you know, peace is. I find it used to be hard for me in the sense that I, especially as a child, was very much so where it's like I had to have some input of entertainment or outside, something coming in at all times. It was hard to entertain myself, but now that I'm around people all the time and that I'm doing things, I have found that actually working and being around people and doing things makes me now want to have that balance of alone time. I used to never want to be alone, but now I'm like, now I cherish that time, a little bit here and there. And even with breaks in life, I've definitely taken up recently the theory of, you know what, I might not have this extra commission right now, or I might not be doing this show, but I'm going to take that time and say, I'm going to rest now because I'm probably going to be busy later. So instead of going, oh, I'm not working, oh, I'm not doing, no, I'm resting.
Yes.
That's equally as important.
Yes, it is.
Ashley, where do you find peace these days?
Silence. Absolutely. Complete. No TV, no, music, silence. It is so underrated. And I treasure it. And the same thing that you were saying about, nope, I'm going to be present in this moment because something's going to come along, and I'm going to be like, I'm tired. I just want to go to sleep. I just want to be by myself. And the more that I do that, the more that I pay attention to the moments that I have that are just mine, I'm happier in the moments when things are busier. I'm much more like, okay, this is fine. Yeah.
Well, I often find too sometimes you have to be careful when you choose to sit in silence, because sometimes if you sit in silence for too long, you can go in a weird place and it can get bad. But when you have the right, and I've often find there's two types of silence. There's silence as in I'm not looking at my phone, there's no television on, and it's quiet in the house, but there's still there's still the rustling of the air. There's the nature sounds, that are always there. And that's the silence I think I like the most. When it's too quiet, I'm like, my brain it's almost like when people have tinnitus. What happens is when your ear thinks it's not getting enough input, it raises the gain, and that's where the ringing comes from.
Oh, wow.
And so it's like,
Look at
I'm not
science.
getting
It's a whole
anything,
science
I'm not getting anything. And so it's like, let me turn it up, and that's where the ringing starts. And that's kind of what my ears do. It doesn't ring, but it's like I can hear the silence, and I'm like, this is concerning. But if there's a little, I need like a noise machine or like, an Alexa in the background, so,
I
a
love my
little
Alexa.
ambience. But there's still silence in my focus.
Yeah.
Sometimes I need everything. Turn it off. Turn the lights off too. Everything. Because, and I think maybe it's because I have a little person
Oh, yeah.
who is just mommy and mommy and mommy. And sometimes it's not even that she wants anything from me other than I just want to talk to you, which is great, and I love it. When it doesn't happen, I love that too.
I feel like I have to, I don't have a child, but I do have a dog.
Yeah,
And
that's
some of the times I'm like, I know you're excited because you want to say hello. However, right now I cannot handle all of that.
All the energy.
I'm not telling you to stop because you're doing something wrong. It's more because I need, and it's like, they're not going to be aware of that. They're just, they are sometimes, especially if you really are in a mood, dogs can be very responsive to that. But like the subtlety sometimes is like, it's like, oh, you're home, we're going to be happy. But it kind of reminded me for myself that I need to do that for other people as well, of be conscious of how I approach a situation or how I come into things, because they might not be able to take on that, and be cautious, because I definitely have moments where it's like, I need to, I don't want to see another human, I don't want to see anybody, I just want to, and not because I'm upset, but it's just like, I just want to sit, watch an episode of Golden Girls, and relax, and laugh a little bit. And that's another thing, I feel like we're missing true sitcoms in television right now. Like I have to go back to that, or 227, or, to kind of relax in that way. Because television today, especially when you watch those, they really are like plays for television.
Yeah.
It's not television in the way that we have television today. And so it's different, and I go back there and I'm like, I understand, especially in our landscape of what's on Netflix, what's all over the place now, I understand why this is necessary. And reminded me that it's necessary to laugh. To sometimes to find peace, you've got to laugh a little bit. I mean, look at everything that's going on in the world today, yet we've somehow still found peace, and we're somehow still here,
Yes, we did.
And, it's that time of night when my brain stops working, and it just did. So I'm going to move on to Vincent. Vincent, what brings you peace? It happens. It'll come back later. I'm sure I'll find it later. Go ahead.
I try to find peace in 2 moments every day. When I walk my dog in the morning and in the evening, so that's both peaceful moments. And I don't listen to anything. It's just me and him out there walking, and that's just like a really nice moment every single day. And I also find peace in driving home from work with no music. Right, like I love music and always have stimulation, like when I'm in the shower or at home, or definitely driving to work and all of that, or when I'm going anywhere else after work. But coming from work to home, I ride in silence, just to reflect on the day, see what I need to do the next day, but also to just decompress, and not to feel like I'm on. You know what I mean? And that's really peaceful, because as ambitious people, who want to always be go, 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 and feel like the early bird catches the worm, you can never be left behind, and somebody's always better than you, so you got to keep up.
And New York definitely doubles that.
Triples it. So it's nice to have a moment where it's just be. Just be.
Oh, Lord.
Without a doubt, it's taking baths. Without a doubt. When we were looking for our apartment, I
I was like, if it doesn't have a bath, like, I'm sorry, we're not looking at it. Like, it's not an option. Like, it can literally be the size of a sink, but we have to have a bath. I was like, it doesn't have to be a nice one. It doesn't have to be good. It's just like, I have to at least be able to sit in it.
Yeah.
All like, we'll be like doing things the other day. We had a busy day, and we had a lot of stuff to get done. And I was like, I'm just gonna go take a shower. And I go in there, and I was like, okay, I'll see you in a minute. He was like, are you taking a bath or a shower? And I was like, I don't know. Once I get in there, I can't
see what happens. Turn the water on.
I'm just like running water. And he's like, are you taking a bath? And I'm like, yeah. It doesn't have to be a long one, but I'm gonna have a bath.
Yeah.
Oh, it's just the best.
Yeah, when we recently went on vacation, or well, it wasn't really vacation. We just went to, what's the name of that place? Philadelphia. Went to Philadelphia for a couple days. Names don't have them. And we stayed in an Airbnb, and the Airbnb had a jacuzzi tub. And it's been since I was like 15. Well, really, no, it would have been 14. Because my godmother had one. I was like, it's been since then. I was like, I have to indulge.
Oh,
yeah.
It's the best.
It's the best. I definitely was a little bit afraid. It was there were some things about the Airbnb. I was like, is this hot tub rated to be? I mean, is this jacuzzi tub rated to be in here? Am I going to go through the floor?
Oh Lord.
But I didn't.
Okay.
I'm here.
You are here. You're right here.
And so the other cafe, but it was still very nice to kind of relax for a bit.
Yeah.
And it wasn't until I was like, oh, I've been missing this.
It all throughout the pandemic. Well, we're still in the pandemic, but like peak lockdown, that just took me right out of. I get really bad health anxiety, and every single time I'm just like, I'm gonna take a bath. And it's like it just washes my problems away. It doesn't, but it feels like it does. It's a peaceful moment.
It is. And actually, it wasn't Christmas, but because this is one of my favorite Christmas songs, ironically, when I was in the bath, I was playing what you're about to sing next, Have Yourself a Merry Christmas. It was the middle of the summer, but it was just the moment. It was just the moment. I mean, it was funny. We were joking about, Jesus was probably born actually in July anyways. So it's like, I'm one of those people where it's like I will listen to Christmas music if I want to go to that place. I don't care who's stopping me. And so, I was listening to this, and it brings peace just where it sits in the voice, and what it's saying is just always so beautiful. So shall we give them a little bit?
We shall.
Sing now.
Let your heart be light.
sing, I'd see like liquid gold.
It's like your voice is church.
It is church. It
gold.
encapsulates God's self.
Listen.
Literally.
I mean, like, shoot, that's all the proof I need to believe God's real.
Ooh.
Is the fact that you can sing like that.
Oh,
'Cause it's-
beautiful.
It's, yeah,
Oh,
just
gosh.
beautiful.
So good.
We're near the end of the night.
The end
We
is
have
nigh.
one more song. We can't have Christmas without a little Silent Night.
Yeah.
So I think it would be nice to close up with a little Silent Night.
Let's do it.
and joining us for our holiday jam. It has been fun. It's been fun to sing with all of you and talk and chat. And thank you to our wonderful musicians who are with us tonight. We hope you'll share this with your friends. It'll be online for you to watch later. But we leave you with one last. We wish you a Merry Christmas.